We've all seen, or at least heard, souped up Mustangs racing around on the street and crashing into things. But one of the best automotive manufacturers to sell a souped up, modified Mustang to the public was Saleen Automotive. So here's the story behind this iconic muscle car company and its founder, Steve Saleen. Steve Saleen grew up loving cars and actually bought a Porsche 356 as his first car. Great taste. He bought his first Mustang in 1969 and immediately modified the suspension, the paint, the wheels, the carburetors, and the exhaust with the hope of eventually racing the car. Unfortunately, that dream died in 1971 when he took a turn too fast and totaled the car, and a stereotype was born. Just a year later, though, he was able to purchase another one, modify it again, and finally realize his dream of becoming a race car driver. He competed especially well in the amateur league, so well in fact that he turned pro in 1974. He spent a decade or so racing open-wheel cars in the Formula Atlantic Pro Series, but then switched over to the SCCA Trans Am Series, and throughout his career, he set tons of track records and helped win numerous championships, but his thirst for racing could never be satisfied. One evening, sitting at the dinner table in 1983, remembering the Mustangs of his youth, he sketched his own idea of what a Mustang race car should look like. And 2 years later, in 1985, the first Saleen Mustang hit the tracks with modified suspension, aerodynamics, and interior. On October 10, 1986, the Saleen Mustang officially entered an SCCA endurance race and won after 24 hours of hard racing. Motorsports success continued over the next few years, and in 1988, Steve Saleen opened a factory in California to mass produce his race-tuned Mustangs for the world. Moving quickly to cash in on his past racing successes, Steve introduced a few models over the next few years, like the Sportruck in 1988 and the Mustang SSC in 1989. Shortly after the 4th Gen Mustang was unveiled to the world, Saleen offered their next model, the Saleen S351. It featured a ton of aftermarket performance parts and a fully rebuilt engine. Saleen also offered a special edition version of the S351 called the SR, which was produced in limited numbers and had a carbon fiber hood, locking rear differential, and a double-winged rear spoiler. A little bit too ricey for my taste, but I bet it is a ton of fun to drive, as it produced almost 500 horsepower. But Saleen wasn't done. In 1996, he unveiled the model that we see here, the Saleen S281. A number of these cars were used as a fleet in the budget rental car companies, similar to what Shelby did with his GT350s several decades earlier. Saleen unveiled their first real performance-oriented supercar in the year 2000, the Saleen S7. Powered by a 7-liter V8 engine that would eventually become twin turbocharged, the S7 garnered attention from both muscle car fans and exotic car fans alike. In 2002, the S351 Mustang was put out of production, and the S281 was replaced by the S281 Extreme model, which was only produced for 2 years until the Mustang was redesigned for 2004. The 5th Gen Mustang received several iterations of Saleen models, including this Saleen S302 Parnelli James Edition. Around the year 2010-ish, the start of a new decade, Saleen began to focus on expanding their lineup to new projects like the Saleen Tesla, the Saleen Camaro, and the Saleen Challenger. But now they've cut those models out and they're back to their traditional lineup, with the Saleen S302 Mustang putting out around 700 horsepower, in addition to a Saleen Sportruck and a new supercar called the S1 that's designed to replace the S7. Saleen Automotive is responsible for some of the most iconic muscle cars to come out of the past few decades, and while they're currently shifting focus from traditional motorsports to production and road cars, their lineup is still influenced by their rich history in racing, and hopefully will be for decades to come. Alright guys, there you have my full video about the history of Saleen Automotive. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment below, and go ahead and check out my channel because I've got a ton of exotic supercar, hypercar, and muscle car reviews up. So remember to subscribe, and thanks for watching.